Okay, so in this lesson we're going to start directly with the nails. So first of all, as you guys can see, we're already in our advanced retouching section, and first step that I'm going to do is now just create paths around the nails. So we're going to create some rough selections around here and then merge out or merge a new color and make them really nice and clean, and then also add some reflections in the later stage. So let's start out now with just using our pen tool. We can also just press P here on the keyboard, or you can go here to the left side and select the pen tool. Now as well, I'm not going to explain too much about the pen tool. We have a few free lessons explaining how to work with the pen tool, and as well we've got a complete free course where you guys can learn how to work with these tools. Okay, so I'm going to go and do a rough path now around this nail, and just going to try to fix this a little bit up here. So going all the way around, trying to find the outlines of just this nail. Okay, a little bit more, and as you guys can see, completing the path over here. So we have our nail already. Okay, so I'm going to press right click now with the pen tool. Also going to say make a selection, so we can do a selection out of this. As well, I'm going to say zero feathering at the moment, because afterwards I do want to take the blurring tool and just blur the edges a little bit. Okay, so now we've selected or made a selection here around the nail, and we want to work out the nail. Next step that we're going to do is select our teeth group over here and create a new group. And on this new group, I'm also just going to write here nails. Okay, and we can use our clone stamp tool now once again just to clone out all the reds here, and as well obviously the reflection, and just clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. As well with the clone stamp tool S again, I'm going to work with 100% opacity and flow 100%, and at the moment working on all layers as well. So we have everything underneath, and it's obviously an empty layer, so everything that's underneath will be tackled then on this nails layer. Okay, so I'm going to press Alt again and just sample an area close by. As well, I'm not too much concerned now about the reflections. I actually do want to keep the reflections, because later when we add reflections we can use these as a reference. So I'm going to clean up this first now and then do a merged layer where we're going to get them back. So over here, just roughly going to now brush over the reflection and cloning that out again. Sample with Alt and just clone over here. Hold Alt, sample, and we're going to clean. Okay, and a little bit further. We're going to go all the way around the nail, as well on the sides here. Okay, at the top. And now I'm going to press 3 on my keyboard just to get into 30% opacity here at the top. Press Alt again and just slowly sampling over here as well, because we do have some weird edges here in the color. I'm not sure if you guys can see it in the video recording, but I can see here we have some weird color edges, and you want to get rid of those and just straighten them out and make it an even color overall. Okay, so we got that. That's cleaned up. And now next step that we're going to do is obviously have to do the outside as well. So we have to clean the finger a little bit. So for that we can actually simply press M for marking tool again, right click and say select inverse. So we're swapping around the selection. If I want to zoom out, you guys will see that we have our canvas here is now selected, the complete image, and the little nail is just free. So this basically means that that area is still out and we're doing it on the outside. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer again so we can see what we're doing here. Again, press S for the clone stamp tool, and again just sample here around the finger. So hold Alt very close by. As well, on the 30% opacity, I'm actually going to take that up to maybe 60%. Okay, press Alt, sample this area, and we slowly going to just brush around this. I'm also going to press Control Alt together just to see how strong is my hardness. It's set to 0. That's actually fine. Diameter, that I will change via my board. Okay, just sampling again, and we're going to go over here, and I'm going to switch back to 2 to 20% opacity here from the top. Make my brush a little bit bigger. Hold Alt and just slowly feather this in. Again, the colors here, and a little bit smaller again. And now we're just sampling, getting the finger back. I'm going to press 4 so it goes a bit quicker. So we have 40% opacity. Okay, now I'm sampling again the nail here. I don't want that. Okay, a little bit over here. Okay, and I'm sampling now from this side. Okay, a little bit further. And now I'm not painting here next to the nail. I'm literally painting already in the nail. Remember, we have the outside selection, so we can actually literally, if we brush in here, nothing will happen. It will only affect the outside. So we can brush easily over the nail as well. Little bit. I'm going to press Command D quickly just to see how far that nail goes. Okay, and I'm going to go back here in my history panel just to clone stamp tool, and we are back to this side of the nail. Okay, and a little bit more, and a little bit further, and that's about it already actually. Okay, then as well this side, press Alt again, sample an area from this side, and I'm just literally going and brushing this in a little bit over here, very softly down here as well. Okay, press Command D, see our before and after quickly here. Before and after, before and after. Okay, that looks already way better. Now as well, I'm going to go back to clone stamp tool here, or actually just a step back, because I want to save the selection. So I'm going to press M again for marking tool, right click and say save selection here. Going to select that, and now under my training PSD here, I'm just going to write nail 1. That is my nail 1, and I'm going to have it just as a one normal channel. Okay, that, and we have the selection. So now we can press Command D, get out of that selection, and zoom out a little bit further out, and we can also have a quick look here, a quick before and after here. Again, before and after, and that looks again way better. And it's also very important always to zoom in and out, have a look what your whole new adjustment looks like from the outside. If it's too strong or not, then you know, okay, you overdone it or not. Okay, so before I continue now, I also want to just blend off the nails group here, and like I said, make a complete master shortcut and also merge all layers together. So I'm going to press Command, Alt, Shift and E all together. That will create a new layer for me. I'm going to drag it right to the top, or actually just on top of this nails group. And I can also switch on my new nails layer here again, and obviously the second layer. And you guys might ask, now why did he do that actually? He just fixed it. Well, I just need it as a reference. So I'm going to write here reflections, and this is just in case or later when I would do reflections to blend it on and quickly see where I'm placing reflections. So I'm not really going to work with this layer, I'm going to delete it again afterwards. Select your nails layer again, and we're going to zoom in again and do exactly the same effect again. Press P, and we're now going to do a path around this nail over here. So very slowly around here. And then once again, like I said earlier, this is not a course teaching you on how to work with a pen tool. There are free courses and free lessons on my YouTube channel, and as well on my free courses online where you can learn how to work with a pen tool. Okay, let's go all the way around. Going to make a selection with that. And we completed our path. Now we're going to press right click, make a selection again, zero feathering again, and say OK. Again on our nails layer, we're just going to work now in this nail. So press S for clone stamp tool once again, and we're also going to change it up to around 60%, somewhere around there. Okay, make it a little bit bigger. Press Alt, or we can actually obviously press 00, so 100% opacity for the moment. And we can just brush out the reflections and clean up the nail so far. Okay, again, hold Alt, sample an area, hold Alt, sample an area and brush. As well over here from the top. Okay, and a little bit further, and we're just going to clean all of that up. Now we're going to get here to the bottom, where we're also going to clean up just the sides a little bit. And again, as you guys can see, we still have these weird color edges on here, so be careful for that. We still have to brush them out. Don't forget about them. Okay, a little bit further here. Okay, now I'm going to press again 4 for 40% opacity, and just literally going to fade out all these little color edges here. Okay, that's a bit step too heavy, so 2 steps back in the history panel. Okay, and let's fade over here. I'm working quite quickly now just to don't keep you guys waiting so long for this. But do take your time when you do this. Okay, so we have our nice our nice selection done. Now I'm going to press M again, marking tool, right click, select inverse, and we're going to select the outside as well, as you guys can see. Okay, zooming in again, and now I'm going to press S again for clone stamp tool. I'm going to select around 80% opacity from the top as well, here 80. make my brush size a little bit smaller. Again, like I said, I'm also working with a Vacuum Ingenus 5 Pro tablet, so it's a little bit easier for me to just change my brush sizes via the wheel. If you don't have that, you will go to the top here and just select your brush sizes over here. Okay, let's go a little bit closer again. I'm going to press S for clone stamp tool, and as well 4%, so 40% 4 on the keyboard, and literally make my brush a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to brush around here, make it a bit smaller again. Clone these areas away. So Alt, sample an area, Alt, sample an area and brush, sample an area and brush. As well, as you guys can see, I'm going around this whole nail. Okay, as well here. Let's do that over the top. Okay, a few more times, and then as well over here. Okay, and this is a little bit too soft, so I'm going to press 8 now, 80% opacity, so to work quicker. Okay, that's obviously cloned completely. Command Z, go step back, on your history panel as well. Okay, I'm going to sample a bit from the top here and also from the side. Now I'm going to sample from here and brush over here. Okay, and so I can do a long, nice stroke. Brush again, or sample again, and brush, brush, brush. Okay, and as well from here again, brush, brush, brush over here. I'm going to press Command D, get out of that selection, zoom out a little bit, and that looks fine already. Going to zoom in again, press the clone stamp tool in my history panel just to get my selections again. Okay, zoom in a bit closer, and as we did earlier also, I'm going to press M, marking tool, right click, and say save selection again. So again, under save selection, we're going to write here nails 2. Okay, or nail 2, that's fine as well. Under new channel, press OK. Okay, so we have that selection. Press Command D, get out of that. We're zooming out, and we're going to tackle the next nail over here. As well, don't forget, we still have our reflection here, so that's all fine. If this is still a bit rugged here, I did really quickly, so we should do it really nice and round, so just bear in mind, I did it a bit quicker. Okay, zooming in a little bit closer again, and I'm going to press P again for the pen tool, and as well do the same process again, just with the pen tool over here. So start again from scratch, trying to go just around the outlines of the nail. It's a bit short, this nail, so I'm going to make it a bit longer over here, trying this time to make it a little bit nicer with my path. Okay, a little bit further, and as well down here, not too much. Somewhere around there. I'm going to see if that works out. That's a bit rugged down here, so I'm going to go step back and also select the last anchor point, this anchor point, and just make a nice selection. Nice path, exactly. Okay, got my path around that. Right click, say make a selection out of that, 0 feathering, okay. Again on my nails group with S, clone stamp tool, again 00 on the keyboard, which means 100% opacity. We're going to just brush out all the nails and clean it up, and all the reflections. Okay, all the way around, and as well down here we're going to add a little bit, so just a little bit in here, and we're just going to literally bring in a little bit more nail. Okay, it's a little bit darker over here, so I don't want to brush too much over that. I really like this dark edge actually, so I'm going to clone exactly from here and just brush that in a little bit. Go step back again. Okay, and a little bit further. Okay, a little bit more. We're going to clean up all of this and press literally 4 again, 40% opacity. Make my brush a little bit bigger. It's still soft, don't forget that. So I'm just filling these edges here and making everything nice and clean. Okay, and giving it a solid color, not a weird shiny color, and obviously just killing these color edges. Not too much here on the side, I like that shadow. Okay, and 2 steps back, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to press M again, marking tool, right click, select inverse, and we again have the outside. Again on the nails group, I'm going to press S for clone stamp tool, and again let's work starting out just with 8, so 80% opacity. Make my brush a little bit smaller and hold Alt, sample these areas again a few times, and just over here as well, a little bit rough with this now. Okay, and as well on this side, just cleaning that up. Command Z, go step back. If you do a mistake, Command Z is your best friend. because you can literally just quickly go back. Okay, a little bit further here. And as well on this side, also going to just clean this up a bit. That's a bit too tense. I'm going to press 3 now, 30% opacity. Very important to switch your opacities always. It's one of the best keys or tips that I can give you, is switching your opacities and just brushing with a low opacity over and over instead of trying to do it with 100% opacity. Okay, so then again, going to press M so we can save this selection again. Right click, say save selection, and we're going to write here nails 3 or nail 3. Going to hit OK again and press Command D, zooming out a little bit, and that is again our new nail. We can also have a look here, our before and after, and that looks so far a little bit better. Okay, let's zoom in and tackle the last nail over here, last nail. So again, the nails layer, if you want to, you can also do the path just right on there. So we're going to zoom in a little bit closer. I'm going to press P again, pen tool, and literally just going to make a nice selection, a path around this. All my paths are becoming selections, so then I tend to always say selection. So over here, going all the way around, as well over here. Bringing this in a little bit. Okay, and a little bit more. And one more. And we're closing the path again. Okay, right click on that path or in the center of your new path here, and we're going to say make a selection, 0 feathering, yes, okay, and we have a new selection. Now again on the nails group, we're going to press S for clone stamp tool, 100% opacity, so 00 on the keyboard. And we're literally going to just sample again these areas, brush, sample, and brush. And just clean all of that up. So brushing out all the weird reflections here, and as well on the side, watch out, it's getting a bit darker here obviously, fall off the light, so you don't want to brush too much over that. Okay, and sampling also from the top now, exactly from that nail side, okay. A little bit more, and just cleaning up this whole reflections here. Okay, a little bit further. And also I'm going to press 4 again, 40% opacity, just brushing out the edges here, making this all nice and smooth. Okay, carefully here on the side, don't want to brush too much away from that shadow. Okay, then again, M marking tool, right click, select inverse, and we're on the outside again. S for clone stamp tool, we're going to start with around 70 to 80%. Hold Alt and just brush in the sides from the nail. Now just be a bit careful down here. Obviously, like I said again, we're working on the outside of the nail. So outside, this side is selected, not the inside. So we can easily brush in here and affect this little outside over here. So as you guys can see me now, brushing actually on the nail, but I'm trying to affect just the outside. Okay, then as well, press Alt again and just sample these areas from there. Again, brushing on the nail. Now I'm already getting in on the nail with just my target sign here, so be careful with that. Okay, not brushing too much in here, it's too light actually, so press Command Z, go step back, and that's actually good enough. So zooming out a little bit, press Command D. Okay, and we missed a little spot down here, and this is also not looking too soft here, so I'm going to press S again, basically going back first, go to my clone stamp, so we have the selection again. Okay, press 2 for the keyboard, 2% opacity or 20% opacity, and literally just brushing a little bit over this. I still have the wrong selection, so M, marking tool, select inverse again, so now we have the inside once again. Press S for clone stamp tool again, and we're literally going to just brush over this a little bit, just making this super soft and feather in a little bit better. Okay, a little bit more and a little bit more. Hold Alt, sample this area, sample a little bit over the shade. Now as well, I do want to cover a little bit of this side down here. So what we can actually just say is just take our lasso tool over here, and we can take the polygon lasso tool and literally just hold shift as well, so we get into the plus mode, which basically means here from the top the add on or add to selection mode. So we can add just a little bit in here. So I'm going to hold shift now, select one over here, and literally going to just drag in this a little bit just to get these few pixels in here as well. Okay, and that is when you double tap, it's obviously going to select it. So now, as you guys can see, we have already selected this little area. So S again for clone stamp tool, 00, 100% opacity, and we're literally just brushing this in down here, so it's literally just in the pixels. Okay, zooming out again as well, pressing Command D quickly, having a look. That looks already better. So go one step back. Again, marking tool, right click, we're going to say here save selection, and that is finally nail 4. Okay, say okay for that, Command D, out of that selection we have now saved 4 selections, and we have also painted in all of the nails over here. So they look nice and everything looks clean, but we still miss obviously all the reflections, so they don't look real yet. So what we're going to do is also add some reflections now. So for that, very simple, we're going to go down here and just create a new layer again. I'm also going to make this a little bit bigger here, our layer palette, and also just going to write in here reflections 2. Okay, and we have our new reflections layer. Now how are we going to add reflections? Are we going to just brush them in or paint again with just a white and black foreground color? No, I think a gradient tool for that works the best. So simply go just over here, select your gradient tool, then as well switch your foreground colors to black and white, and you want the white as your foreground color, as you guys can see now. So now we have white. Then you can also go here to your application bar, and you can first of all just select the normal second one, where it's just going from white into transparent. Then as well, we're going to go all the way to the right hand side here and select the reflectant gradient, which I'm going to do now. Then as well, your blending options, set that to normal, opacity 100, and also depth and transparency. So that's all set already standardly. Now what we can do is basically, I'm just going to drag quickly with the mouse over here, or my pen, and you'll directly see we have created a little small stripe over here, which is our gradient, and this is going to be our reflection. As you guys can also see, it's fading off quite good here from left and right, so it could be a very good reflection. I'm going to press Command Z just to go a step back. And now what I'm also going to do is switch on here my reflections layer. As you guys can see, that's why we copied it, and move it underneath. And now we can simply select our reflections 2 again and just create small reflections here onto the nails. Now just bear in mind, if you do these gradient reflections, sometimes they're a little bit too small, so do it over and over until you have the right width of them. Okay, so I pressed G again for my gradient tool, and I'm simply just going to go over here now and try to create a little gradient. So as you guys can see, as well as I mentioned earlier, this looks already a little bit too small for me. So I'm going to press Command Z, go a step back, G for gradient again, and literally just do another gradient over here. And it's a little bit wider and looks a little bit better already. I'm not too sure, maybe have a look if I'm going to zoom out, if that's a little bit too small still. So I'm comparing now if I will blend off these other layers over here. Okay, let's have a look. Maybe it's still too small. I'm going to try it once again. So back to layer order over here. Okay, just select reflections again, press G for the gradient tool, and I'm literally just going to make this gradient a little bit wider. Okay, looks a bit better. I want to try it once again, Command Z, and also now trying to put it into the right angle. So obviously the direction you're pointing it at, that's the direction the whole reflection will go. So again, a step too wide. Okay, that's the right side, but not the right width, and that's around fine. I think that's good. Okay, so let's press V again for move tool, and I'm literally going to just move it over here. Okay, and as well now going to copy it with Command J to just have a duplicate of that, and going to drag this one down, and they still look a little bit too small to me. Press Command T to rotate the second reflection now, and so we can just literally point it into the right direction. Enter again, that is on there. Okay, and as well Command J, duplicate that again, and we're going to move that over here. Press Command T, rotate that selection again. That's why we're also keeping now our original reflections layer here, so we can literally see where the reflections were actually. Okay, over here, accept that. And it's not really looking as good as I thought. Let's also select or deselect this reflection layer over here. Well, now it looks a little bit better if I switch up the reflection layer. Okay, so it's still a little bit too small, but I'm also liking the width for the top here. I think for the bottom they're a little bit too small. So what I'm going to do is just deselect this layer again, our last reflections layer, create a new layer. I'm obviously going to later on put them all together to one layer, so I'm not going to rename them now. Zoom in a little bit closer, press G again for that reflections and for the gradients. Now turn on the reflections layer and as well the gradient. I'm just going to sample over here, and now I can see also the nice width over here. Press V for the move tool, just literally move them over here, and that's a nicer width. Okay, a little bit further. Put on your reflections layer again, so this is like your reference, so before and after as well. Okay, Z, zooming out. I'm as well now going to take the last layer and make a duplicate with Command J. Take it all the way down, press Command T to rotate that. Rotate it all the way. Switch also on here my reflections layer. Okay, maybe first I need to accept this rotation here. Switch on the reflection. Zoom in a little bit. So it's almost there, not yet. Command T, rotate that once again. So it's a bit bigger now. I'm just going to change it a bit more. Okay, that's fine. Accept that. Okay, and now just going to move it over to the right position. Okay, a little bit higher with my cursors up and down. Okay, so now I'm going to go down, kill this reflections layer again. So I know, okay, that's all good. Now what I'm going to do is take reflections 2, reflections copy here, layer 1 and layer copy 1, and I'm going to merge them all together to one layer. So select them all with Shift, right click, and we can literally say here, merge all layers. So merge them all to layer to 1. And I'm just going to write here reflections again. Reflections. Okay. And now what you're going to do is obviously create a hidden mask on that, so everything is blended out. So go down here, hold Alt as well, so we can just create a hidden mask. As you guys can see, a black mask means hidden. And now we can paint out with a white foreground color on a brush just our areas where we want our nice highlights and reflections to be. But obviously that will we have to refine everything, so it's quite a process. So that's why we also at the beginning saved our selections. So now we can literally just go in, press M for marking tool, right click, and just say load selection down here. Say load selection, that's going to ask me which reflections here under channels, obviously, which selection do you want to load. So I'm going to just select nails 1, say OK, I have my selection again, press B for brush, 00, 100% opacity, white as a foreground color, and I'm just going to make my brush super big, and I can literally just quickly, okay, it's obviously on the outside, so we did a mistake on that side again. Press Command Z. I'm going to press M. First of all, have to invert. I guess I saved it wrongly. So save or select inverse, exactly as I can see now we have the right selection. But anyways, I can press B now again for brush and just literally quickly brush in that reflection. And press Command D, get out of that selection. And the nice thing is I can actually have now a really nice edge here at the top and bottom. If it's still not perfect as I'm seeing now, I'll still brush it in a little bit. Okay, let's go up to the top, press M again for marking tool, right click, load selection, and again we're going to load nails 2, say OK. Let's have a look. It's again selected inverse, so I made a mistake, most probably threw out the complete nails. Anyways, press M again, so we have to invert it. Right click, say select inverse. Okay, press B for brush and literally just brush in the reflection here. Command D, next nail, again marking tool, right click. Load selection, let's have a look here, nails 3. Maybe I did exactly the same mistake overall, so I should have actually thought about this earlier. Press M again, marking tool, this means we need to select the inverse again, B for brush, and paint over here. So as you guys can see, I also do mistakes still through my process here, but at least you have to know how to fix them again, then you're fine. Right click, load selection, and we're going to say nails 4. Okay, and I think, yep, for the last nail I actually did it correctly. So as you guys can see here, we don't have the outside, we literally already got the inside. Press B for brush and just paint over here really quickly. Command D, and we already have our new nails set everywhere. So I literally can just see that on the first nail it's not 100% correct. The rest looks pretty fine so far. Okay, and now on this mask here again, B for brush, and I'm also going to press Ctrl Alt together to make my brush completely hard. So hardness set to 90 or actually 100%. Making my brush a little bit smaller again with white foreground color. I'm just literally breaking this little edge over here and also trying to break this edge a bit here. Switch again with X foreground colors just a little bit. Okay, actually going to stir steps back here. Okay, like that, and press 5 for just 50% opacity. Feather my brush a little bit because I want this edge to be a little bit soft here, not as this hard. At the front it's fine, but not at the back. Okay, just a little bit. Maybe that's still too hard, so 2 on opacity, and just literally tap, tap, tap. That's fine. Okay, zooming out a little bit again, and that's already your nails with just the new reflections. So as you guys can see, here's also the before and after, before and after. And this takes a little bit of work until you have the reflections nice and to your taste, and that everything is set nicely and also has the same width or the perfect width for the reflections. Now as well, what I'm going to do is just make a duplicate of this reflections layer here. So Command J again, and we're going to write here, instead of reflections copy, just 2. And I'm going to take this reflections 2 layer all the way down, just 20%. So it's literally just shimmering through a little bit, shining through there. Okay, and the top one I'm going to also take down just to around 90%. So it's a little bit harder than having 200%. Okay, you can see it's still giving a little bit of a push if I add the second one at the bottom as well. So that obviously I can play around a little bit with again. So I'm going to hold again, or first of all take reflections here, delete that layer. I'm going to take with shift again, reflections and reflections 2 and the nails group, press Command G, and right here nails, and I know that's everything that has to do just with my nails for this lesson. Okay, so this is basically just your complete nails group here already. Now we're going to continue in the next advanced steps, retouching all the little details and everything that we still need to do on mouth, strawberries, and so on, etc., color, and so